Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. You guys have been constantly asking me, who's Paris Saint-Germain going to sign in January? Are we going to sign this guy? Are we going to sign Gyökeres, Kvaratskhelia? What are Paris Saint-Germain going to be doing in the January transfer window? Obviously, that transfer window will open up in more than 2 months from now, so it's extremely hard to predict. But what we will do is give you the best answer going into that January transfer window. But firstly, we got to look at the reports. PSG isn't ruling out being active to sign players in the January transfer window. Koulibaly's future is a question, but the club is lately more focused on signing players in other positions, like fullbacks. So, we'll obviously return to this Koulibaly point, but they're talking here about fullbacks being more prominent interest at Paris Saint-Germain at the moment, obviously because at least one of left back and right back was considered failing to sign in the summer transfer window. And number 9 this winter? Unlikely. First, because the market for 9s look very close. Second, because Luis Enrique is convinced that his team will continue to progress. No internal tension on the subject. Ramos' return is expected at the end of November. Mercato. Paris could be tempted to look at the South American market in search of opportunities. In recent weeks, the trend has been towards strengthening of certain targeted positions like the fullbacks. The debate around recruitment of a 9 did not exist. What we can take away from these reports early on is that Paris Saint-Germain aren't thinking about number 9, aren't thinking about wingers. They know those are positions that Paris Saint-Germain could strengthen and potentially would want to strengthen, but their main focus at the moment is backup fullbacks. Not that much interest when it comes to the striker position. But as I told you guys, we'll come back to this. Let's take a look at some quick names. Again, there's no huge interest. There's just small concrete interest either from before or straight at the moment. So these are the fullbacks, both backup right backs and backup left backs I've found that Paris Saint-Germain are interested in or could potentially be interested in. The first one is Maxime de Super from Club Brugge. We're linked with him last summer, obviously. A huge talent out of the Belgian league. He already plays with the national team as well. Only issue, he recently extended with the Belgium side, so it will take a hefty price for Paris Saint-Germain to get him out of there. Club Brugge also playing in the UCL as well. Next up is Adrien Truffert, obviously from Rennes. Once again, player we were linked with during the summer. No transfer happened, but I could see Paris Saint-Germain go back for him. And the last left back I want to look at is, as they mentioned with the Brazilian market, is Guilherme Arana. With the Brazilian season set to be ending soon, Arana could maybe finally want to make that move to the top 5 leagues. I remember he had some interest from West Ham in the summer transfer window alongside Paris Saint-Germain, but if you go for him, we could get him for not that big of a price, and he's experienced. He's in the perfect age. He's like 27, 28, so even age-wise won't be competing with Nuno Mendes, and he's a great left back. And maybe potentially a move like this could get him Brazil call up and even starting for Brazil. So who knows? Next up, I want to look at right back. Once again, there weren't that many links during the summer to right back, so I will pick up 2. The first one is Kyle Walker-Peters. Contract ends soon with Southampton. He's technical enough to play for a position side like Paris Saint-Germain. And I remember we were linked with him, but only small reporters mentioned his name. And the other one is Arnau Martinez. Girona, obviously, a bit of a downfall season. And a player like Arnau Martinez, with all of his talent, would love to leave Girona. Once again, he's Spanish, knows possession side and all of that. So maybe Lucho knows some stuff about him and would want to get him to the club. Next up, I want to talk about 2 quick rumors that have been circulating. One is from the entirety of the summer and one just started now. The first one is right here. Richard Royos. Palmeiras is evaluating the possibility of PSG charging again this winter for Richard Royos. Paris Saint-Germain have never had that concrete interest in Richard Royos. I think they've had interest, but it's the Brazilian and the South American media talking way more about it. So I don't think there's anything concrete. Could potentially PSG sign him? We saw Brazilian market, everything. Their season is going to end. And I think Richard Royos wants that move to Europe. But I don't see this happening. And the second one is obviously this one. PSG reportedly started negotiations with Trent Alexander-Arnold. These discussions are said to be very advanced. Again, this came out from Mercato, and I think Fijallas, a Spanish newspaper, not reliable at all. Obviously, Trent is a free agent. Obviously, Paris Saint-Germain are a club that could potentially be interested in him, but that we're in advanced negotiations and all of that, and talking with him. Completely fake news. Now, let's come to the, I guess what you guys have been waiting for, because now we're going to talk about attackers, because yes, there is some stuff about attackers. The first one I want to talk about is obviously Ademir Lukman, who's having an incredible season once again with Atalanta. Obviously, was put, and I think 15th place in the Ballon d'Or ranking recently. So yeah, he's a great baller. And the thing with Ademir Lukman is that his contract ends very soon. So if Paris Saint-Germain would want him, it wouldn't be that hard getting him out of Atalanta, even though it's in January and even though they're still competing in a lot of different competitions. So maybe Paris Saint-Germain could come back for Ademir Lukman. As I mentioned before with Kolomani, we would return to him, and we have returned to him. Just in, PSG is now open selling. Randal Kolomani is preparing for his departure this January. However, the club doesn't want to sell him for cheap. His valuation is around 40 to 50 million euros. So Paris Saint-Germain finally come to the situation where Kolomani will be leaving the club. We've obviously seen Luis Enrique does not rate him. He rates Due higher than him, Kangin Lee higher than him, Gonzalo Ramos higher than him, Marco Asensio higher than him, and obviously Ousmane Dembele and Bradley Barcola. So Kolomani is so down low the pecking order, his price is just going to go down, 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 down. And with the recent Luis Enrique extension, there's absolutely no point having Kolomani left at this club, knowing that Luis Enrique does not rate him. So if Paris Saint-Germain can sell, again I repeat, can sell Randal Kolomani, a loan, maybe, I don't think so, but maybe with loan or a sell, someone could come in. The first one we obviously have to look at is Gyökeres. Big report from Play to Goal came out that Gyökeres now with Ben Amorim going to United. Gyökeres is thinking about leaving Sporting as early on as January. Obviously, it would be very hard getting him out of there, especially in January. Sporting wouldn't want to lose Amorim and then Gyökeres, but if some club puts up the right money, they could manage to get him. So Paris Saint-Germain, if they want to, they could go all out in January or wait for the summer transfer window. Same goes with the other attacker, Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. The two main issues in Kvara's contract renewal with Napoli, salary, release clause. Kvaratskhelia is having huge problems with Napoli extending because he wants a release clause, as we knew from last summer, similarly to Victor Osimhen, so that he can leave Napoli whenever he wants, when a big enough club comes and wants to pay his price. His obvious interest to leaving Napoli is obviously Paris Saint-Germain, but we'll see how that goes, and this will absolutely not happen in January. Napoli, they're focusing on winning a Serie A title this season, so Kvicha Kvaratskhelia will have to wait until the summer transfer window for anything to happen. And obviously, the last player is Victor Osimhen. Something interesting could be happening. I think he has some special release clause, even though he's on loan at Galatasaray for 1 year. He has some special release clause in January, which any club would activate. Obviously, we know Luis Enrique doesn't rate Osimhen, but maybe if Kolo leaves, Lucho will be like, yeah, we can take Osimhen and have him part of the squad. We'll have to wait and see for that. But out of all the attacking names, it's Lukman and Gyökeres that are the most notable for me. Kvaratskhelia, absolutely no chance in January, and potentially Victor Osimhen. But I also want to mention that Lucas Hernandez and Gonzalo Ramos are soon to be returning, so you can even add them as two extra signings for Paris Saint-Germain this season, with Gonzalo only featuring for around 16 minutes and Lucas Hernandez not a single minute so far this season. Percentages for potential PSG signings are backup fullback 80%, striker 65%, midfielder 35%, and winger 25%. It isn't that likely that we will sign an attacker, especially like a Gyökeres or anything, but there is some small hope. I don't want to have any hope, especially with Luis Campos being our sporting director, but yeah, here I've answered your guys' question fully. Heard the links, heard the names, potentially that Paris Saint-Germain could be signing. Don't have that much hope for an attacker, but you can have a little bit of hope. That's been it from your boy PSG, and as usual, allez, Paris.